Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited about today's conversation because we are diving into some topics that most people don't want to talk about. Well, at least not out loud. I have a very special guest today joining me. Her name is Joanne. What a beautiful name. A powerful woman who walks her own path with courage and deep inner knowing. She's someone who practices Shivambu, explores astrology, and is deeply committed to cleansing not only just the body, but her spirit too. So if you're curious about alternative healing, body wisdom, the stars, or just ready to hear something real and raw, then you're in the right space. So Joanne, I'm happy you're here and let's get into it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me this morning. It's beautiful to connect again.
Yes, yes. We also had a conversation a while back, so which is kind of nice. And we did touch on some specific topics, but today I want to talk about taboo topics. Okay. So
Sounds good.
specifically, I want to talk about Shivambu to start off with. So for most people, they don't understand what Shivambu means, right?
Mhm.
So for people that are unfamiliar with that terminology, we like to call it the waters of life,
Yes.
the energetic flow of the body. Is there any other thing, Joe, before we reveal what it really is?
Yeah, no, I love the term Shivambu because it's like intriguing, like the word itself, it just sounds like something is there that needs to be investigated. When I first heard that word, I was like, Shivambu, that sounds like something I want. Um, and so, yeah, I love it. Water of life, the water of Shiva. It's like the golden elixir.
Golden elixir,
Many ways that you can call it. Yeah, orina,
right? Arena,
uh,
yes.
Spanish. But yeah, around the world, there's all kinds of different terms for this.
Right. So we'll put it in plain English.
Go
It's
for it.
called urine therapy.
That's right.
Oh no! Ooh, cue the ick factor, cue the oh my gosh rolling of the eyes, cue the oh my goodness, I thought these chicks were cool. Like now what? Right?
Yeah, I think that at first, when you first start this practice, you look at it like it's urine, but um, after you start to cycle it through, it becomes something else. It
Right.
becomes Shivambu. It becomes the water of life, and your attitude and everything towards it changes over time.
Right. Well, you know what,
Mhm.
Joe? Let's start diving into this topic then. So, can you tell me a little bit how you first got introduced to Shivambu? Let people know, like, what brought you into that?
Well, I was actually doing some research about flat Earth because my parents were talking about flat Earth, and I was telling them to kick those people out of their home. So I went on a big research binge to show them that they were wrong, and
Then you were right.
yeah, I ended up calling them and apologizing, and I found out about Shivambu through that investigation and
Mhm.
started right away. I actually started my Shivambu practice 3 years ago with a 3-day Shivambu fast, which drastically had a drastic impact
Mm.
on my health. I actually had radial shortening in both of my arms. I tore the blood vessels off the lunate bone in both my wrists from heavy lifting, years and years of heavy lifting. The doctors were like, masonry workers get this. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that was like a long time ago. And so fast forward, and my wrists have always been a big problem for me, like fatigue and just I'd just been through a big move and I did a bunch of heavy lifting and I could barely move my wrists. I was in a lot of pain. And I did the 3-day fast and the wrist pain like subsided so much. It kind of I was taken aback. I didn't even want to say anything because I was like,
For
is
real.
this really how? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I've never gone back to that state. Like the pain is never, I'm really active. So I would go through bouts of this and yeah, I never went back to that level of pain again. Really
Wow.
crazy.
So you go to the flat earth thing, you realize a whole heck of truth that's been like,
Yeah, yeah,
taken away from
astrology
you.
actually started to make sense to me after that. I was
All
like, "Oh my
right.
gosh, I can actually understand this now. I can actually wrap my head around this now." Like
You're
yeah,
right.
all of this like just settled into a new level of understanding.
Right.
Yeah, really
So when
powerful.
you started realizing when you started coming into the Shivambu practice, like how easy was it for you to start? Because of course we're told in the medical world that it's waste, right? We're told that urine.
Mm,
And my understanding is that they also changed the word, or they call it urine for a specific reason, but it's actually blood plasma. So
right.
when you give blood, the blood plasma is extracted and it's actually urine that they extract, if I'm understanding that correctly, right? Something
Y-
like
y-
that?
urine is ultrafiltrate blood plasma,
Okay.
medically,
Right, right,
technically speaking, in their
right.
terms.
In their terms, yeah.
And yeah, if you draw blood from you and you centrifuge it, you'll see the plasma separates from the red blood cells, the platelets. They're two different. Those waters separate from the blood, and that's where all of our hormones and nutrients and a lot of stuff is in the plasma portion.
Right.
You can donate. You can actually donate plasma where they hook you up and they take the blood and they take the plasma out and they give you the blood, the red blood back
Is that
into
right?
your body. Yeah.
Wow. Just to
So
say how powerful the urine is.
plasma is, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can find plasma online, like medical grade like plasma uh for I mean the last time I looked it was 1,200 and some an ounce.
And people buy this for what?
Well, for all kinds of depends. They used plasma during the war because if you ran into shock, the sooner they could get plasma into the bodies of the men that were in severe trauma, the better chance they had of survival. There's a really interesting white paper on this actually. And so they were trying to develop a way where they could dehydrate the like make the plasma into a powder so that they could rehydrate that and get it into them on the field because they had such a better chance of survival if they did that. So yeah, our plasma holds a lot of information
Right.
that they use for a lot of different kinds of things: hormone replacement therapy, stem cell therapy, like pretty much all the most expensive therapies that are out there.
And we have it in our own bodies and for free, and
Yeah,
we get rid of it. Get rid
yeah,
of it.
it's so crazy, like literally flushing our wealth down the toilet.
Well, so let's talk about that. So when you first started off with the Shivambu practice, did you just go all in? Did it take you a little bit of time? Like, how was that for you? Because I know
Yeah,
some
it took
people may
me
have
no
it.
time. I didn't have any yeah. I was I guess our circumstances too at the time I was living in Asia in Laos and we were in a farmhouse. We were out of town. We were just living kind of, I wouldn't say isolated, but we had like our own space there. And so there was no inhibition. Like I didn't have to worry about what my neighbors, I didn't have to worry about any of that. And just being I wasn't around. Uh, yeah, I was just in a different environment, so I just went all in. Like I had no problems. We were doing enemas. We were drinking. We were washing our bodies with it. We just went all in straight away as soon as I found out. Yeah, and I was voraciously reading at the same time, but it did throw me into a detox. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was pretty intense.
Okay.
So much mucus came out of my body. It was just wild.
Is that right?
And
So,
yeah,
so the practice, so you first start off, you went all in, okay? So of course
yeah,
there's some people like you and me, I'm an all in kind of girl too, and some people take like years to kind of
yes,
get into this kind of stuff. So when I first, well, I learned about this back in 2010, and
mhm,
I met this lady in Punta Cana who was reading a book called Your Body's Perfect Medicine, and she was, and those were before like the internet days, like okay, before
yeah,
it became as it is today. And she started talking to me about this practice, and of course I'm always open to seeing what people have to say, because I recognize that I don't know a lot about a lot of things. So I always want to keep my heart and my mind open to see if there's something for me to understand. And I bought the book when I came home, and it was very medical, very, testimonial focus, like doctors and stuff. And I used it on my skin because I had like psoriasis, I think, on my scalp and stuff, to help with the dryness. And but as time went on, I didn't fully dive in because I wasn't really educated on it. I wasn't buying a lot of books, and of course, nobody really talks about that kind of stuff, right? So it wasn't until last November, because I've had the reintroduction of the urine therapy or Shivambu since like before that, but it was last year when I actually went through a healing crisis, that I went and I used the Shivambu, the fresh Shivambu, and I was done. Like, and there was also other circumstances when I understood that our body is self-sustaining. And I
mm,
had been watching Kate Stillman's video on her Ayurveda video and talking about how urine works. And she shared about how our body can give you the vitamins and minerals, and can actually self-sustain. We don't need anything else, because when we drink our own living waters, we are actually uh, we don't need any outside anything from.
mhm,
That's the gist of what I understood. Okay, like, don't
mhm.
get me wrong, it's not because I don't want to eat anything for the rest of my life. There are pleasures in life, but I understood, oh, okay, my body is can function without any outside influence.
Really
So
liberating, hey, to that
yeah,
realization.
it really, really was. And now I understand that when you talk about the Shivambu practice, that people go, ugh, right?
Mm.
Well, what is that? And are you crazy? And what about, and Joe, and I know you have the same thing, right? When people
Yeah.
are probably first
Well, I
introduced.
think there's a lot of people that if they're ugh, it's like they're when they say that, it's 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 interesting to me because it's like saying ugh about yourself.
Yeah, well, but they've
And
been trained. They have been trained that
right.
everything down there that comes out is waste.
Yeah. And it's like a reflection of what you're putting into your body. So
Yes.
maybe there's something there. When people are afraid of this, I always sort of, you know, guide people to reflect on their diet and what are
Yeah.
they putting into their body that's making them say ugh about,
About themselves.
yeah, about what's
Right.
going on there. And nothing has put me in touch with my diet like Shivambu has. If
Right.
my Shivambu tastes good, I know I'm on the right track.
Right.
And when I go out and have like I'm just going to use a pizza as an example. If you go out and you have pizza or you go and have some fast food or some like street food, some street food, and you taste your plasma after that, it's probably going to taste not great.
Right.
But if you go and you have a coconut water and a nice fresh salad or um, something more clean and wholesome, then your Shivambu is going to taste good. And so, yeah, that's like my whole game is just like how good can I get the Shivambu to
To take.
taste and to
Right.
maintain that, to keep it there. So I actually sip cycle like the each time I cycle, I have
Mhm.
a sip of that just to see like
Where
where
you
I'm
are.
at with my diet and
Right.
what I'm eating. Mhm.
Right. No,
But
and
there is times when you're detoxing. Like when I'm doing a detox protocol, there's times there where the Shivambu, it's like I don't want to drink it.
Right, right.
And I mean, I'll still taste it just to see what's going on and give my body that information back to itself. But there are times, my number one thing with all of this is always when I'm doing plasma cycling or when I'm sharing with other people about how to get started. I always say do it willingly and joyfully, as the Dhamma Tantra says. So yeah, if you're not in that state, then
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's counterproductive. Like
right.
my whole thing was when I approach, because I'm a fire sign, so I'm all like, but I will
Yeah.
say, look, this information has been kept from you.
Mm.
You've been deliberately made a fool by being told that this is waste. While they tell you it's waste, here they are in the back doors, like taking it all in and
Yeah.
taking it and making a profit.
Selling it
So
back to you.
selling it back to you. So to me, I'm all about that. I'm all about the truth about things,
Mm.
right? Regardless, we all have the programming. We've all been told that, oh,
Mm.
wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. But
Mm.
when you start really investigating what this is all about, and you start to read books, you read journals and testimonials, then you have to be open. And people that have the
Mm.
sudden block, then that's not for you for right now. But at least the
Yeah.
seed has been planted.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I always go back to that. They always hide the truth from you. We live in a world where they make sure that you're in fear, that you're lied to, and you're in deception. So,
Yes.
and to be told that your own body, well, first of all, the medical world is all about lying to you about your body, anyways. When you are sick, it's not sick, your body is detoxing. But
Yeah.
that's a whole other storyline for
Yeah,
another
the whole
day.
contagion thing.
Right.
Everything really started to make sense to me because when I was younger, it didn't make sense to me. Like contagion didn't actually make sense to me as a young woman because I thought I
Interesting.
was just like, how are we all still here?
Right,
Like
right.
if contagion is real, I feel like we just should have been wiped out a long time ago.
See?
And yeah, it turns out that that's just another theory. The contagion, a theory. Oh, okay. It's just a
Right.
theory. Oh, that means that we
Oh, they tell
aren't.
you, yeah, they tell you things in plain sight, right? Like all the
Yeah.
time, like, evolution theory, all that. Anyways, we're
But I
gonna
can
say,
understand the anger and frustration too, because I went through that
yeah,
phase
yeah.
when we first started on Shivambu. It was like a lot of pent up anger
Mhm.
had come out, and it came out in all kinds of different ways. I wasn't ready for that part of it. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more support out there now, and people sharing more about their experiences now, so people can have an idea of what to expect. But I was really mad and angry. I felt like I could have like torn down my house brick by brick with my bare
Wow.
hands. I was just furious.
And what do you think was driving that? Like that
Well,
anger?
just the impact that it can have, the impact that it has on our health, like the benefits of it are
Mhm.
so powerful. Um, and to keep that, like to not keep that, but like,
Willfully
yeah, I was
omit
just
that
so,
from
I wish I'd
information
have known about this. Like,
sooner.
I wish my parents knew about it and that I grew up with
Yeah.
this.
Right, right, right.
And the
Well,
more you know, like about the whole thing about childbirth and cutting the umbilical cord
oh
so
yeah.
soon and all of that trauma that we're repeating, this multi-generational trauma that we're all carrying. And then as a mother and a grandmother, to um because this isn't accepted by all of my family members, and I mean they still speak to me, but no one, my parents practice, but no one else in my family does. And so like my son and uh, his family and my granddaughter, like they're not there yet. And to just stay in that resonance of like acceptance of where people are at.
Right.
It's tough because the cycle is still continuing.
Right.
So yeah, it's a really interesting position that we're in, these
Well,
Shivambu people.
I'm of the thought process to say, like, I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to talk about it. I'm
Yeah.
going to let people know that this is a practice that I myself do. And I
Mm,
don't give a crap if people laugh at me, they joke about it. I don't care.
mm,
Because to me, if you this is it's the dualistic side of the world, right? You're either for us
mhm,
or against us in this conquer world, right? So if you are under the delusion that it is waste, then you're on their side. Sorry.
mm,
You
yeah.
know, if you're on the medical world's way of thinking and they tell you that it's waste and all that kind of stuff, you're on their
Mm,
side. So,
mm.
and so for me, I'm I'm now I'm really anti that side. So as soon as I found out, oh, they kept that away from me. Okay, then I'm going to jump on the other side and go full
Yeah.
throttle. And I have, and I've seen the benefits of it, and I've seen the benefits of it in other people's lives that I have exposed them to.
Yes.
I have a friend of mine who had a double hysterectomy and had a scar that couldn't heal for like the longest time, 30 years. And as soon
Yeah.
as there was like urine packs, guess what started to heal?
Yeah.
Guess
Hey,
within
so
a
powerful.
week, within a week or two. So for me, if this is true, then why wouldn't I want for other people to know?
Yes.
So, and I was really looking forward to having this conversation with you today so that we could say, hey, this is a thing, this is real, and it's not, it is a taboo topic only because it's been hidden.
Hmm.
It's been told to us that it's of no effect. My understanding was too, like years ago, I heard someone say that my grandparents, like that generation, would actually drink their urine. And when the doctors, like the Rockefeller doctor medical world started coming in, and the doctors were being part of these associations, they were told, if you tell your patients to drink their urine, you cannot be a doctor in our association.
Yeah.
So you can't get paid. So if you tell people the truth, you won't get paid.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, drives me insane when I find out about that stuff. Were you familiar with
Yeah.
that, Joe?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories around like that are similar to that where they're told, you can't share this. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just
Right,
absolutely crazy. And
right,
nothing beats direct experience.
right.
Um, and just finding out for yourself, and the impact of this is so it's so profound. It's like, yeah, it's really like a reprogramming, because when I first started um to do this, it was like you feel you feel that old programming coming in, or I did anyway, that old programming coming in saying like, you're doing something wrong. But then what
Mhm.
you're feeling actually happening in your body is so like it's like, okay, just shut that part of my brain off for a moment and go sink deeper into how I'm actually feeling and how
Mhm.
my body is actually feeling. Yeah, it was just a huge wake up. And topically on the skin, I mean, it's nuts. It
Yeah,
was
it is.
2 years. I had a 2-year gap before with seeing some people, when I was living in Asia. As I said, I started this, and it was 2 years before I could get back to seeing my friends in, Malaysia, in Georgetown. And when I got back there and was, like, reintegrated with my friends there, they were, like, taken aback when they saw me. They were, like, literally, like, "How what are you doing now? Like, how do you look younger?" And it's been 2 years, like, since I've seen you. What's happening? Yeah.
Right.
So some of them I told, and some of them I didn't tell.
Well,
I just go when I'm in people's faces like that, I just try to pick up the vibe of if they're gonna be open to it, and, yeah.
Right. Well, so for you, Joe, so when you're doing your practice, like you do you fresh, do you do aged?
Mm,
Like what's your practice for different things, right? Because I'm still at the process of going, okay, I need to do the age, like take a shot, and I'm so like, my ick factor's coming. I know it's going to be absolutely magical if I could just go through that whole like the color and the so
yeah. Yeah, the aged, it's like taking a shot of whiskey. I compare it to that sometimes.
right.
But now I actually blend things. So I actually start my morning with like mostly fresh, and I put an ounce or two of aged in there with it.
Right, right.
And then I'll put in like a little bit, not a lot, like mostly it's plasma. Mostly it's my fresh and aged plasma. And then I'll
Mhm.
put in a bit of orange juice, fresh orange juice, and some cranberry juice, and an ounce, maybe a little less, maybe a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar,
Okay.
actually,
Yeah.
and my moringa powder and a couple other powders that I use, some Ayurvedic powders like haritaki and triphala. Um, those are sort of my three main ones: the moringa, triphala, and haritaki. Haritaki is actually in triphala, but I like to double down on that one.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like the apple cider and the aged plasma, they do something together. It's because it's this acid and alkaline. It actually makes it effervescent. It like makes it
Oh,
bubbly.
bubble. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
my morning drink and it tastes great. I love it. And I actually make several of those throughout the day, actually.
Well, you'll probably
It's
have
like
to give me a
my
recipe so I
it's
could
like
share
my
with everybody.
Gatorade. It's like my Gatorade energy drink or what Red Bull or whatever other people are taking for
Right.
their energy.
Right. Well,
Or
I've
their
noticed.
the morning smoothie or whatever. I don't really take fruit or like I do just liquid
In the
in the
morning.
morning
Right. Right.
and
Right.
then in yeah.
Well,
So
I've
that's my
noticed since I've
favorite.
been well, thank you for sharing that. I've noticed that since I've been drinking from the waters of my own well, that I'm not tired. And the big thing, I'm not anxious anymore. Like
Mhm.
I used to have anxiety. Like I never used to have that. And then like I would wake up almost every day and have an anxious heart. And ever
Yeah.
since I've been looping and I've been drinking it every day, that's absolutely gone. And
Mhm.
if ever there's a night where I don't have much sleep, it doesn't matter. As soon as I start looping, I'm fine. It's
Yeah,
as though I
hey?
slept my whole night.
So
So
true. And
yeah, so
traveling, it's so powerful when you're traveling to not have to
absolutely.
buy all this bottled water and to just feel more grounded while you're traveling.
It's
Super
amazing.
powerful.
I had for some days, like I don't know why I did it, but one day I decided not to drink my living waters, and I was parched by the end of the day, like parched. And I and I really saw the difference. If you're drinking water, it doesn't quench your thirst like your living waters. So the next day I went back to drinking and everything was fine. And I had someone that say, "Well, don't you need to be drinking water in order to be able to replenish your body?" I'm like, "Actually, no, because my understanding is when you breathe, well, you're breathing water particles, right? You're drinking through your nose essentially too, right?
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
breathing air, and it's just going through your system." Now, Joe, can you tell me a little bit about what you know that's in Shivambu that helps people? Like you've been doing this for a while now. Is there anything that you want to share with everybody in respects to why it's a good thing to reintroduce into your body?
Yeah, well, as you were just saying and sharing about that, about like helping you with your anxiety. Um Uh, it's so true. And whenever I'm going through something, like if something sort of traumatic happens to me, it's like the first thing my body wants is to have that water reintroduced back into my body. It's like a feedback loop. Like I
Right.
call it a drinkable hologram. So if I'm
Mhm.
under stress or under pressure or something's going on, when you drink that back, it's like your body wants to be in homeostasis. It's that's what it wants to do for you. So the sooner you give that information back to yourself, the more your body is able to respond to what's going on to itself and
Right.
restabilize you. So super powerful. There's a long list, long, like 6,000 plus things that they've found in our living waters. And I mean, when you go to get a urine test done, and this is actually what tipped off John Armstrong, the water of life. He went to the doctor and they checked his plasma, and they checked his urine, his plasma, and they're like, oh, you're deficient, you're low in this, and you're low in that. And then he was like, well, if they're seeing it there in my plasma, in my
That's
urine,
right.
what if I just put that back? If it's there,
If
then
it's
what if
there.
I just take it back?
Mm,
Um, I
mm,
mean,
mm.
ground really pioneer, hey, John Armstrong,
Well,
and yeah, so it's so magical for that, and topically, like to start, if people don't want to ingest it at the beginning, I think one of the most powerful things that people can do is do a foot soak, actually, like not to just put your feet in it and see what
mhm.
happens to that old calcified skin on your feet. Watch what happens to your toenails.
It's
Like,
amazing.
just watch what happens to the skin of your feet. I mean, it's crazy.
That's
You just
right.
rub the dead skin off. And that night after you do that, my first foot soak, I was like rubbing my feet on my legs, and I was like, my God, my feet have never, even when I go to a spa and
Spa,
have
that's
like
right.
just doesn't even come anywhere close to.
Mhm,
And I mean,
mhm.
they're really like scrubbing, and this is just like rubbing it off with a face cloth practically. Super
Right.
powerful. And some of the largest pores in our body are in our feet, so
It's
you're still getting some of that back into your
into your
your
body.
system.
So now we do
But I
the
do all kinds of different things. Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
that's okay. No, that's okay, because I was going to ask you in respects to now doing the physical part of it. Tell me about the spiritual aspect of it. Like, has it increased your spiritual side? Has it given you acuteness? Like, what's been the benefit?
Yeah, definitely the spirituality has gone to a completely new level that I never even imagined. Um, yeah, it really brought me back to spirituality,
Okay.
um, because then I felt like I was a divine creation
How so?
because of this capability that the way we're built, the
Mhm.
way that we're designed to cycle this back into our bodies. I was just like, wow, what a beautiful, if I was going to create something, like if I was going to create a
Mhm.
person, I would make that's what I would make it, self-sustaining.
Right.
And so it was like a beautiful it was a spiritual experience, actually.
Mhm.
But it was a healing experience at first, but it quickly became a spiritual experience. In that first 3-day fast that I did, the dreams that I had, my dreaming came back, um,
Mm.
and yeah, the whole spirituality just was rejuvenated in me, and I just felt like magical. I felt like I had this magic water, and
And you do.
it, yeah, and it was just like I understood like the idea of breatharianism. I was like, oh, this is how they're doing it. And yeah, it's been a really um, interesting and profound and beautiful experience.
So did this kind of like do a segue when you started doing the Shivambu practice, like for the astrology? Is that somewhere like that
Yes.
kind of brought you there? So tell me about that journey for you.
Yeah, the astrology really it came they came together. Um, and my partner, Olivier, this is really his domain, the astrology part of it, because he had an interest in that from a childhood, but
Hmm.
it wasn't like it didn't have a lot of support when
Okay.
he was young to pursue it. And so when we found out about all this, he really dove deep into that part of it. So I was reading all of the books on plasma, like the Water of Life and Martha
Mhm.
Christie's book, like you were mentioning earlier. I was reading all that, and he was reading about astrology, and then we kind of would come together and talk about the things we'd discovered and share what we'd learned.
Right.
Um, so I sort of learned through him, not through through what he was learning. And then we were sort of experimenting on ourselves, like the sun became more important to us
Mm,
in this practice too. It's I felt like more like a plant than
interesting.
not than a person, but I was like resonating more with nature, like how you just pour water on a plant and it
Mm,
grows like, you know, a whole tree of like fruits, and like how does this happen? How does this It doesn't make sense. Like when you have your, even in they were doing experiments of this, of like, you know, you put a plant in a pot and you just give it water
mhm, mhm.
and you don't give it anything else, and it creates all of this
Yeah.
fruit. And so it's like, where does it, it's not, or animals, like horses that just eat grass and they're these muscular, like where does the
Massive.
protein? And so I started looking at like this whole nutrient thing, like nutrition. I started
Mhm.
reinvestigating that whole part of it. And that's sort of what took us down this astral diet. And we're like,
Mm,
okay, well, like moringa, for example, is like sun and Jupiter. It's a plant, a tree that can take a ton of sun, and it has like a rejuvenating and effect on your body, like Jupiter, like brings you joy. There's a lot of
interesting.
that kind of energy. So we were taking the energy of the planets and then matching it with different plants and putting that with the Shivambu and just seeing how we feel, and realizing that wow, we can really sustain ourselves, not I'd actually not sustain ourselves, thrive, grow stronger. And
Mm,
yeah, Olivier especially had a really hard time putting weight on. And it's interesting, like you're told, oh, you need to eat protein, you have to have meat, you need to drink milk, you need to do all these things. And it was like the less solids that we were putting in our body, and the more we were focusing on this astrological diet, then our both of our bodies were changing. I'm the opposite of him. I'm easily put on weight. Like we could eat the same thing and I will
yeah.
gain weight, and he's just like still trying to,
Bring on the
yeah,
pounds. That's
yeah.
fair.
And now it's like more muscle. Like
Okay.
it's the weight that's coming on now. It's more muscular weight. It's not,
Interesting.
yeah. So a lot of changes there.
So you're putting the Shivambu. Now you're connecting different plants or different things with the astrological planets and kind of seeing what strengths are coming about. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
comparing it to like caffeine, like coffee is like this, has this grounding aspect for us, and that's why we crave grounding things.
Right.
And
Makes
so
sense.
right, so heritaki is a good is one of the grounding herbs. So that's why it's so important. And reading through the Dharma Tantra, they they have like recipes in there, and that's really what got us started in all of this. And heritaki was one of these plants that was like spoken about so many times. I'm like, gosh, how many times am I going to read this name through this book? And that's what kind of got us rolling in that arena.
That direction.
And
Okay.
then actually mixing those with are aged, because of the alkaline quality of the aged plasma. When you put the plant matter into this alkaline water, it draws out. It's like a tincture. It's like doing an alcohol tincture. It pulls these things out of the plant material.
Right.
And I've done tinctures in the past, and I mean, I just was blown away by how much it was actually pulling out of the plant. Like one of
Interesting.
the first experiments I did was actually just with black pepper because I know what black pepper tastes like. And so I put it in the aged Shivambu, just a little, like I just had a
Mhm.
little glass and I put a few little bit of pepper in there and let it sit and then drank that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like the aged plasma had, it wasn't so sharp,
Okay.
and I could taste the pepper in like to new depths.
Interesting.
And I tried this also with fresh rosemary, which also blew me away. Like I felt like I was tasting the plant for the first time. I was just like, wow,
Wow.
super powerful. And so that's also been another big practice that we do regularly, like
In-
daily.
Interesting. So do you have
These little
recipes and stuff
tinctures.
like that to share with
Yeah,
people if they wanted
we're
to hear?
starting to sort of come up with that. And I mean, it sort of ends up being tailored to uh, what you feel like you need, but
Right.
and what's easily available around you. So
Right.
one of the new things that we've introduced is actually juniper berries.
Okay.
Uh, has been a new one, and yeah, but practicing with a bunch of other things too, like wormwood, or I mean, a friend of mine that I spoke to recently, Kevin, he does blue lotus tinctures.
Okay.
And so he
Interesting.
started using that with his aged Shivambu, and he's like, wow, this is more powerful than the alcohol tinctures. And I was like, yeah, this is what I'm saying too.
That's what I was thinking
So
about, right? Instead
wild.
of alcohol, why not
Yeah.
use the aged?
Yeah. So, yeah, play around with that. If you have a hard time drinking your aged, it's a nice way uh, to do it because, like I say, something changes in the plasma. It's like not so sharp.
Right.
Um, yeah, it kind
Well,
of softens it somehow.
well, I need to just suck it up and take a shot and just
Yeah.
go, right? Like just do or die. Well, because I understand that um that when I'm going to go through that process, it's going to bring me to a higher level. That
Hmm.
it's for my good, right? And really,
Hmm.
Joe, when we really think about it, when we think about what's good for us, is it always good tasting?
Yeah.
Right? Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm not really, I mean, I love to cook. I love um I love culinary arts. Like I flavor profiles and all that kind of stuff is like I just love it. So playing around with my Shivambu is sort of like I naturally segued into that.
mhm,
I like to have different flavors. Like I don't um breatharian is really interesting to me. I love that the idea that um that capability is there, and I mean my diet
mhm,
has changed so much, but I really don't. I have sort of one meal a day, basically.
okay. Yep.
And I'm sort of trying to dial that down since this last liver cleanse that I did.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, actually not the last liver cleanse, the first liver cleanse I've ever done. Um, Reintroducing food because I really went like dialed down my food a lot during that process. And then when I went to eat again, like I was like, okay, the liver cleanse is over. I'm going to have a meal. And I took a really small portion at the for that. And I'm so glad I did because I just like feeling that density come into the body
Yeah.
and like just eating slowly and like, okay, how does this actually feel? And I feel better when the less dense food I put into my body, the better I feel.
Yep.
Um, the better I all around. Like the more energy I have, the happier I am. Like all of it has a impact. and I can do more. Like when you don't have a big gut full of stuff,
It's
you just do more.
the energy levels are high when you
Right.
fast. Like I fasted a straight 17 days at one point, and I was just like on fire. Like
Yeah,
I
hey.
Oh, absolutely. You're just like, oh my gosh, you have so much more energy. You feel light. Like you said, you don't have this extra matter that is in your stomach that you have to, and
Yeah.
you spend a lot. And then you could do a lot more with your time when you're not eating and you're not
Right.
actually
And
eliminating. So it's like a win-win. But
yeah, that's one of the things is like you better have a hobby because it's amazing how much time gets consumed with
yes,
consuming dense food.
yes. Well, of course, the
Um,
shopping, the cleaning of
I mean,
everything,
it's crazy how much
everything
that
like that.
liberates. Yeah, you
Right.
liberate a lot of time.
So tell
And
me about your
yeah.
liver cleanse. Like, so what was your protocol? What was that like? How many days? Did you have bile come out? Like what was that
Yeah,
about?
I think it's yeah, bile definitely comes out. I'm sort of taking it like I feel like I'm still doing a liver cleanse actually.
Okay.
Like I did the protocol, we did 7 days. I used this product called Oxy Powder that Dr. Group that I got through his website. That's the only, you can't buy his whole kit in Canada. You can only buy some of his products in Canada
Mhm.
because of the whatever rules. So I got the Oxy Powder and then I just sort of tailored my diet to be easy on my liver. And yeah, that the the hard part of drinking the Epsom salts and the
Ugh, I don't do.
we used avocado oil instead of olive oil, which is a lot
Oh, how was
easier
that?
to drink. It was okay, and like you said, like it's one glass,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I can drink one glass of almost anything if I know that it's gonna be good for my body. So
right.
the Epsom salts weren't that bad. A lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's so bitter." I mean, I guess because I'm a herbalist, like I've had a lot of bitter herbs, and
Right,
I've
right,
had a
right.
lot of things that are way more bitter than that. So when I first drank it, I was like, "Wow, this isn't as bitter as I thought it was gonna be."
Right.
Um, and then yeah, you have to rest, and there's some
Mhm.
discomfort in there when your body is pushing these things out of your liver. You're gonna feel something happening there.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've done
yeah.
a liver cleanse years ago. The same thing like you shared, it had apples, apple
Yes.
juice and lemon and Epsom salt
Yeah.
and a specific time at 6 o'clock you drink it, at eight
Right.
o'clock you're resting, and the
Yes.
next day you don't go nowhere.
Right. Your purging day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
stay
okay.
home that day.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
thinking
And so
that.
I was doing these things more like, and doing more plasma. You don't have to worry so much about all this other juices and stuff, I think. But I used apple cider vinegar. Um, I use a lot of apple cider vinegar actually.
In the recipes and stuff for this
Yeah,
cleanse
for
that
my
you're
drinks, like I would put them with my plasma and I would
okay,
have that as my drink. And I mean, that's you're detoxing your liver when you're doing plasma cycling, you're
you're
detoxing
detoxing.
your liver.
Right, that's amazing.
Um, so I did a lot of that and a lot of cranberry juice. And we actually had apples, so we were just eating apples. I wasn't drinking so much. I'm not crazy about apple juice. It's very sweet for me.
Right, right. Well, there's a lot of sugar in there.
Yeah. So I kind of like the, and I actually have water kefir grains, so I do ferment my apple juice. But
Mhm.
the way they make apple juice in the store is they put something in there so that it doesn't ferment. So the
Right,
water kefir grains have a hard time breaking that down, actually.
right.
But
So for
it
people
was,
that
and your liver holds anger in Chinese medicine. The liver is the house of anger. So
interesting.
that's also interesting. It's not just a physical detox. It's emotional. There's a
Mm,
definitely a huge emotional part to all of this. And Shivambu in and of itself is like you don't just clean your body out. It's an emotional purge as well.
mm.
Yeah. So it was really powerful. I
That's
loved it.
so for someone that wants to start off with Shivambu, that wants to get into cleansing, what would you recommend for them right now? Some people that are new to this or, just recently started, what would you share?
Yeah, there's so many ways to go about it. And I always go with the willingly and joyfully and just do whatever is you feel like you can do in that in that energy field. Um, so whether you want to start your Shivambu experience with just collect it. Just don't throw it out. Just start with that. That's a beautiful way to start and just observe it. Just look at it. Look at it as it ages. Smell it. Like put some on your hand. Put some like just have some kind of initial first contact with it. I mean, for some people that's sort of how they're going to start. I mean, some others are going to hear this and be like, "Okay." like, you know, the first video I saw before it was even finished, before I was even finished watching it, I like was finding a cup that I was gonna be my plasma cup, and I was ready to dive in full steam ahead. So just all depends, but yeah, just start collecting it, and you'll know what to do with it just from your own curiosity. Let your curiosity guide you.
Right.
That's how I say to start because it's different for all of us.
Well, that's the thing, right? You have more laid back people that'll,
Mhm.
slam in. Then you have the fire signs like myself who just bulldoze through and go, yahoo,
Yeah,
and I
and
just
I'm
say,
a
okay,
water sign, so the water for me was like, yeah, this is my game here.
this is your thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some people that are, you need to approach them with care, with love, a little bit
Yeah.
more. And then you have people like me just say, okay, there, come on, let's go. Like, just go.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people close to me, like I really pride myself on I mean maybe I shouldn't say it like that, but they really drive me, especially my son. They really drive me to how not how far can I go with this, but how bright can I shine? How good can I look? How healthy can I be? And
Right.
um yeah, and just like the proof is in the pudding and just show the results from glowing.
That's right. And
Yeah,
there's no, you don't, and what I
and
remember,
inspire that way.
well,
Inspire them
absolutely.
that way.
And I think it was Megan McDonald that talked about that. Just like you don't have to measure anything. You don't have to worry about having, in herbs and spices. And okay, in order to, you have a little bit of turmeric, but then you need pepper. And then, you have to kind of find the perfect formula to be able to have the best benefit from these products, right? But your own living waters have everything that you need. And your body is so beautifully and wonderfully made that when you re-ingest the waters, it knows what to do and will take
Yeah.
what it needs and will leave the rest. There's no calculations, there's no formulation.
Yeah.
It's just, and your
Yeah.
body will know what to do. I think that was for me the most beautiful part because I get overwhelmed when there's way too many details.
Right. And there's
And
no wrong way to do it. That was another beautiful thing
no,
about it. And you
right.
can it's really, I mean, you can't hurt yourself doing this
No, there's no
modality.
overdosing.
Right. Yeah.
There's no
Your
overdosing.
body's going to tell you. I mean, you have to have some kind of like yeah. I mean, I did 9-day fast with only Shivambu, and I noticed during that time that my energy was starting to get low.
Okay.
So I did things like one of my go-tos was moringa, and I
Mm.
noticed that when I added moringa powder to that, I was like, "Oh, wow, okay,
Hook you up.
here's that energy that I was missing." But I mean, I was doing 9-day Shivambu fast and riding my bicycle like 24 kilometers into
Mhm.
town and back
Yeah.
home again, and like active,
Right.
super active. I
Yeah.
wasn't just yeah, so physically demanding. Um,
Right.
and so you just listen to what your body is telling you. It really puts you in
Absolutely.
tune, doesn't it?
Well,
Shivambu.
it's the like you had mentioned yesterday, it actually gives a different relationship to your body.
Mm-hmm.
And because how we've been trained is all about, okay, take your vitamins, your minerals, and drink this and shake that and just do this and
Yeah.
just do that, right? And it's true. And but then your body is giving you feedback, but you don't know because you don't have that relationship with your body. Yes, you know, aches and pains and stuff, or you don't feel good or whatever. But when you reintroduce your living waters, and that's like you shared your feedback loop of going, okay, have a drink of your own body for it to remind you, okay, this is good or this is not. Like I remember when I first really went all in, that I loved salt. Oh, I salt everything, you know, like 3 4 times over, and I just loved it. And then, you know, when you re-ingest that, you go, oh,
Whoa.
whoa, okay. So just by that reintroduction of my body going, okay, so you gave me this, here you go. This is what
Mhm.
it is. Would you like more? And I'm
Mm.
like, no, merci, like
Yeah.
fini. You know, like, because I understood that drinking my living waters was more important to me than dousing my food with salt.
Well, it showed you what you were doing to yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's like, okay, this is too much. Like, this
Exactly.
is definitely too
Oh,
much.
yeah. No more. Thank you very much. So
Yeah.
that to me, and I found that was a beautiful way to get reacquainted with my body. This is where I
Mm.
live. My body is where I live.
Yeah, this is the temple right here.
This is the
We
temple.
each
The
got
temple.
one.
That's right. It's self-sustaining. It can heal its own self. It doesn't need anything on the outside. Like I said, don't get me wrong. You do want to enjoy foods and all that kind of stuff, depending on where you're
Yes.
at in your journey, right? Like,
Mm.
but for me, it was a really big deal. And that does that mean that I've let go of certain things? No, like I still drink coffee. Probably shouldn't, but I still do. You know, but everything comes in waves. And when you're ready,
Mhm.
like you said earlier, do it with joy, do it with bliss, and
Yeah.
then
And it,
and
not even just with your Shivambu, with anything that you're eating. Like
right.
enjoy it. Enjoy
That's
it. Whatever
that's
it is. It doesn't matter. Whatever it
that's
is,
right.
enjoy it.
Well, the whole
And
journey is to keep learning and like learning what foods do to you, what
mhm.
certain, you know, and in the meantime, like some people have said, well, I'm going to clean up my diet before I start drinking Shivambu. I'm like, no, don't do that because your body's
Use the
already keeping
Shivambu
you.
to clean up your diet.
Exactly. Let your body guide you. And it
Yeah.
really is an amazing thing. And again, the whole
Yeah.
like, remember, they took this away from you. You
Mhm.
and it's in you, like you said, the golden elixir.
Mhm. Yeah. And really Shivambu, when I go off the rails with my diet, I notice how I consume less of my plasma.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
because
then
it
I'm like,
doesn't.
okay, when I get my diet back on schedule, like to get my diet back on track, the
Right.
more I consume my own waters, the more the better I feel. Number one,
Right.
the more
Right.
energy I have,
Yeah.
and the less I want to eat. But I
Right.
still want to go out and be social and be, do those things. But yeah, now I try to do the cooking. Like
Right.
if there's a celebration, I would rather have them come over to where I'm at and
Right.
I'll do the cooking because I don't want salt.
Right. Me neither.
That was a hard one for me to get off of, but
Me too.
yeah, I
And
don't want to go
because we've
back
been
there.
told it's
I
good for
do
you.
not want to go back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
My yeah, very very negative impact for my body.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and you know,
Shivambu like sort of gives you this leash where you can go and do like naughty things and then you you have a way, the way to clean up,
right.
right?
Right.
So
Right. So what's your protocol, Joe, in a day? Like you loop every day, you do enemas, like
mm,
what's your thing?
yeah, I pretty much start the day with an enema. When I wake up in the morning, that's basically the first thing I do
Fresh or
is
age mix?
I usually do age, sometimes I do mixed. Depends. If just depends how easy it is to do. If it's easy to do the mix, and I will, or if I have more time, if I want to keep the enema in longer, then I'll put more fresh. Like
Right.
I'll ramp up the fresh. But usually it's aged, and that's how I start the day. And then I get up and get into the kitchen, and I make my little tonic with my fresh and aged and my Ayurvedic um, spices in there. And recently, actually, just recently, 2 days now, that I got a little nebulizer.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah, that's been an interesting experience. So for the last 2 days before bed, I've done 20 minutes of breathing in nebulizer of
yeah.
my aged Shivambu,
Ooh.
which threw me in. It was yeah, that's been an experience 2 days in a row now.
Did you sleep?
Yeah, I slept, but I like there's a detox happening there. It's triggering a
Ooh.
detox.
Ooh.
Um,
Well,
the
that's what
first
happens.
day I did it, I was like cold sweat, like shivering, but I wasn't cold. Here, I'll show it to you here.
Sure, yeah, of course.
So this is
Yeah.
what it looks like. And
Okay.
you fill this little reservoir in the top here.
Okay.
It runs for 20 minutes, and it has like
So
three
just
different.
in your mouth, Joe, or is like your
Yeah,
nose or
so then this attaches onto that.
oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So here, I'll actually set it up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because for people who don't know, when you actually start ingesting your, oh, that's great. When you start
Lightweight.
ingesting your blood plasma or your Shivambu, you can trigger a detox symptom.
Oh yeah, then it usually will
So
happen.
yeah, so you're not sick.
Very normal.
Your body's going, oh,
The
okay. So
Shivambu is going to push out anything that doesn't belong there.
case in point, I
Yeah.
had I had years ago when I was a little girl, I stepped on a nail, okay,
Mm,
on my left foot. About 2 months ago, out of the blue, because I'm ingesting my stuff and I'm putting it on my skin, whatever. And I had this itchy thing come up like under my foot, like on the padding here, like right here.
yeah.
And I couldn't for the life of me walk on it. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is maybe a wart and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't a wart. Actually, when it started coming out, I started to see like um, brown dots. There were 5 brown dots that
Wow.
came out of my body. Who in the heck knows where that comes from? Like how
Yeah.
deep that was, but it got pulled out. I couldn't walk on that foot for at least a good week because that's how sensitive it was, and it pulled it right out. So I'm assuming it was when I was a child, or it could also be oxalates in the body that
Yeah.
the urine is just pulling out and bringing out. So your body is really smart. Will actually know what
Oh
to do,
yeah. Oh
instead of
yeah.
us trying to tell our body what to do. That, and of course in today's world it's always about telling our bodies, you have to fight this, you have to do this, and da 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 da.
Right.
There's no peace, there's no flow.
The
But
Shivambu triggers the self-healing mechanism in the body.
oh, big time.
Yeah. So
It
the
is.
nebulizer, it's triggering that in me. I can feel it. And the first night I did that, I had to go to bed. I couldn't even, I was just like not
Done.
doing well. So last night I was like, okay, check. You do it right before you go to bed or while you're lying in bed or
Right. Okay.
sitting up in bed. So I did it again last night, and I had like a similar experience, not quite so intense, but similar experience. And the next day, like today, same like yesterday, I wake up and I've like more, I feel it in my lungs actually. Like
Oh,
there's still something there. There's
it's gonna
something
come
that
out.
wants to come out. And yeah, I'm like sort of still kind of it's going to be a while, but I feel it. Like I feel this phlegm, this old phlegm that wants to,
Come out.
yeah.
Right.
I really like the nebulizer. I'm gonna pursue this
Are you going to
for
do it every
a
day,
few
every
days.
other day? Like, what's your
I'm definitely excited about doing it again tonight, just because
okay?
I'm getting results. So yeah, I'm gonna do a 20 minutes.
And you
That's gonna
just
be
got it
part
on
of my new
Amazon?
protocol.
You just got it
Yeah.
on Amazon, yeah?
Yeah, I picked one that had like a lot of reviews, and I travel, so I wanted it to be compact enough to take around.
Right.
And this one sort of hit all those.
All those things. Well, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, share the link for that product. We'll put it down in the description so people, if they're interested in getting that product too,
Sure,
that
I'll
would
send it to you. Yeah, it wasn't the most expensive one, and it wasn't the cheapest
the
one. I
cheapest
sort
one.
of picked something middle of the road,
Right.
but I love it. It comes with one other attachment,
Okay.
actually, that hooks onto it, so you can just breathe through your mouth.
Nice.
But I like the mask where you're getting it through your nose and your mouth. So sometimes I'll breathe in just through my nose. And
It's just a good
I
idea.
do snort, like I do snort
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
plasma up my nose, but this is different because it's getting right into your lungs. When you snort plasma, I don't know, have you ever tried snorting?
Oh, yeah. I do it all the time.
Yeah, you really feel that like
Yeah.
into the back of your head, right? This isn't like that. This is like going
Going deep.
down.
And it's going to the lungs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
As opposed to in the sinus
Yeah. You
cavities and stuff.
still feel it in your head, but it's a lot more subtle.
Right.
Snorting is something, Or, I mean,
Right.
especially, I mean, snorting fresh is pretty easy. I
Yeah.
usually do a blend. I'll put a little bit of aged in there. And I've snorted just straight up aged, but whoa, you better be ready for that. That's
Well,
like,
I'm using the aged on my skin, and my skin is absolutely beautiful. But as soon as I put it on, I have to go. I'm like this, you know.
yeah.
But this is a lifestyle that I will constantly do. I
Oh
never
my gosh, there's no
won't do
going
this
back now,
anymore.
hey?
I know what it is. I know what it does for me and to me.
Mm,
So this is not, and that's why I wanted to have a conversation with you so that we can have an open discussion and start telling people about
yeah.
how their body produces their own medicine. You could walk in health and wellness. You don't need anything really outside of yourself. We're not any medical professionals or anything like that. We're just having a conversation
The
and we can
body
share.
is a medical profession.
That's exactly.
Your
And
own.
it's going back to the truth of the matter, who we really are. What are we really
Hmm.
capable of? Instead of outsourcing our power into the medical world, or even,
Hmm.
dare I even say, the naturopathic world, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Like there are some good things in the medical world. If you have a broken bone and you need it, put it back in,
Sure.
and in the allop and the naturopathic world, there are some good products that you could use.
Yes.
But if you're not already using your living waters to give you your own health, and it's specifically made for you, by you, and to you.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing about it is that your body knows what to do with it because it's coming from you. It's not you're not putting something foreign into the body. When you
Mm-hmm.
put your plasma back into you, when you re-ingest that, your body recognizes it as itself.
Right.
So
Yeah. There's no
yeah,
synthetics.
right.
There's nothing chemical
It
about
just
it.
gets to work. It just gets to work. Oh, there's this, it just gets to work
Right.
with
And
allocating what it needs and sending it off to where it needs to go.
right. And just so that people are aware, that it is filtered through your kidneys. Okay.
Yes.
It's
This is a
distilled.
blood derivative. This isn't we have two outlets for a reason.
Right, exactly. One has the gold and the other one not so much, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, Jo, I really always enjoy having a conversation with you, and
Thank you
I
so
always
much.
appreciate your wisdom and your experience, and coming with an unapologetic truth, because these are the types of conversation that we want to crack open to remind us that healing doesn't always have to look the way we've been taught in this world.
Mhm.
So for everyone watching, today's talk stirred something in you. Trust that, if something
Mm.
resonated with what Joanne shared, what I shared, really dive into that. And Jo, how can people get in touch with you?
Um, the best way is actually, I guess my YouTube. at Anna Seahawk with one N, ANA, Anna Seahawk.
Okay.
That's sort of all of my socials are that. I do have a website, but it's a little bit
Okay. Well,
longer
I'll
for
put it
people to
down in the
remember.
description so that people
Sure.
could get in
Yeah,
touch
and
with
my
you.
website has all the links to my socials and our we do have a Mother Spirit chat on Telegram
And
that
yes,
we're really trying to grow that um, family,
right.
let's
Well,
call
don't
it.
forget to send that link to me too. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that anybody that wants to get in touch with you will find you,
Sure.
because it is good for us to connect with one another for these
Yeah,
types
and
of,
exactly. Sharing our own experiences is really
right.
powerful. And I've learned so much from
Eh,
other people that are doing this practice, from their shares and stuff like that. And not a lot of people are comfortable with coming on camera and sharing like publicly like we are.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of knowledge in these back channels that is shared that's super super powerful. And I've
Yes.
learned so much. My practice would be nothing like what it is if it weren't for all of these beautiful people that are um,
That are
sharing their
part of
own
the conversation.
experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There.
really
Yeah.
important part, and that support too.
That's
Because
right.
if you're doing this, if you're starting this, and you know your whole household isn't on board, it's okay. Like there's people that manage their way through that, actually, even couples where the what usually the wife, more often than not, women take to this
The men,
than men.
of
It's
course,
interesting.
they're
Yeah.
intuitive.
Yeah. So yeah, and even support like that, like support for people who are in a relationship and uh you know, only one of them is practicing,
Is
and to
open to that. Yeah.
just yeah, so there's you kind of, it's so much easier when you have people that you can relate to and share what your experiences with and get feedback and
That's right. What
guidance and
about this?
support.
What about that? Like, I know I've been in
Yeah.
that group a couple of times to say, okay, this is what my body's going through. Did anybody have any insight to help me with
Yeah.
this, to navigate this? Because, like, sometimes you just don't know and you need advice. You need for someone else to
Yeah.
say, this is totally okay. You're going into, like, you're having a big cold and it's taken 2 days to get over it. That's normal. This because of this,
Yes.
because of that, da 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 da. All
Yeah.
okay, right? So we're
Yeah,
coming
and
out
to
of.
share your successes too, right?
Mhm.
To have a witness to share your successes and your, that's also a big part of it. And
That's right.
yeah, really
That's right.
important.
Well, Jo, again, thank you so much.
Thank
So if
you.
everybody's loved this conversation, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with somebody who's ready to go deeper. And drop a comment below. And Joanne, I look forward to our next time to chat.
Mm,
Thank you
always
so
a
much for
pleasure.
being here. Okay. Thank you.